1, 2, 1, 2. Who's ready for a glass tonight? Who wants to see what my new hobby is going to be? Hopefully something I can make money out of. I want to see it. Don't you want to see it? Come join me. Come get some friends. Grab a glass, even though, since I have to work early in the morning, I can't grab a glass for myself. But come join me and we'll talk about the things that we're going to make. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Checking those ones and twos. Where's the peak? What's the story? What's the saga? What is it that you guys see out here? Are you ready? I think we're ready. Let's have some fun, shall we? Hi, good evening. I don't know who's going to see this. I'm putting this up on a replay though, so I'm not going to do this to the audio platform, obviously, because nobody's going to be able to see it on the audio platform. But I got this out to all my major streaming services. Actually, I don't have it out to Rumble yet. Well, I have it out to Rumble. I just haven't opened up Rumble where I can see the chat yet. But hi, my name is Jay Edgar. How are we doing? What are you up to? How's your evening? It's a Thursday, but since we play Fallout on Fridays, I generally can't drop and do anything else. By the way, I'm looking at the back of my hair here. Man, do I need a haircut. Good God. The bane of having naturally curly hair. But I wanted to take some time and talk a bit about something that I'm going to do, and something I hope to do for a very, very long time into the future as well. So, see if we can get some people coming in here. Looks like Rumble is starting to file in here. The live chat up here over on the main channel. I wonder, and I am genuinely curious too, by the way, if this is going to be bringing a different kind of group over on like Kick and Twitch and things like that. And just that's based on the fact that, I mean, we're in a category, number one, that's usually not very full, and alternately one that, you know, a lot of people are a lot more interested in, and maybe it's not just going to be Fallout 4 where it's, I don't know, pretty saturated at this point. So let's start off with this here. So for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are new here or are going to come in and join me because of the fact that we're in a different category over on Twitch, my name is Jay Edgar. I have been reading the news, and I'm the kind of person, I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I am always looking for something that I can do in the background that can either be passive and make more money, or just in general make more money. Little story on that is, I used to be really fucking poor. Like, it was a bad time when I was in my through the entirety of my 20s. There were a couple points where I was pretty goddamn close to homeless, and I will be the first one to come back out and admit to the fact that it got there. And thankfully, I was able to come back out and pull through and move along and build something new for myself, and, you know, change markets, change careers, and change a lot of things with that. But there's one thing that's always been in the very back of my mind, and that is the fact that the bottom could fall out at any moment. At any second, anywhere, the bottom can just completely fall out. And I learned that lesson the hard way. Being a mechanic was supposed to be the job. It was supposed to be the job that could never go away. That, you know, you're always going to need a mechanic. You're always going to need this. You're always going to need that. That was supposed to be the job. And it wasn't. It came into an extremely saturated market because a lot of people were promised the same thing. That's supposed to be the job. And as long as you can fix let me rephrase that. As long as you can change the oil semi-competently in your girlfriend's Honda, you're always going to have a career. And that wasn't the case. Now, yes, I still go and I fix my own truck and family vehicles, etc. But I don't do it commercially anymore. I do still work with that industry. And I would like to say that I've made myself indispensable with the current job that I have and previous jobs I've had as well. I would like to think that I could actually go back and get a lot of my old jobs back. But that gnawing feeling in the back of my head is always going to be there. The bottom could drop out at any time. You could lose everything. And one of the things that I did when I was losing everything was I started doing much more from scratch because it was a lot easier to get your base ingredients. Well, not a lot easier. It was a lot cheaper to get your base ingredients in and put things in there. So, like, I learned how to make pancakes from scratch. I've got that recipe written down. I've learned how to make most broths and soups from scratch. I actually can make a makeshift maple syrup from... I don't want to say that's scratch, because if you're making maple syrup, it means that you got a spike in the side of a maple tree somewhere and you got a bucket sitting under it. But I can make a more like what you buy in the store. As long as you've got some maple extract on your shelf, or vanilla extract too, by the way, that's delicious. But, you know, get the burger, make the hamburgers the base way, make the bread the base way. I learned how to make bread. I learned how to do a lot of things, and one of the things, and I was a huge drunk at the time. You'd have to be to get through everything I was going through. 2 horrible breakups through my 20s, and a series of 90-day and out jobs, temp jobs, based on the fact that 700 people were applying for the same jobs at the time. And I thought to myself, man, I don't ever want to run out of scotch. That was actually the thought that I had. I don't ever want to run out of scotch. And you start Googling things in here, and they tell you, oh, this is very dangerous. You could never do this, which, knowing the things that I knew growing up, I know that's not true. It's not that. If you have any basic knowledge of fire safety, distilling your own alcohol is not hard. And I'm not going to go really much more into that, but yeah, if you have a basic knowledge of fire safety, you will be just fine under most circumstances. Most of your stills are not going to be high pressure. You might give yourself a flash burn on steam, but most of them are not going to be super high pressure. But that was the thought, like, I don't ever want to run out of scotch. How do I make scotch from scratch? And it turns out I can't, because I live in Wisconsin. It's not technically scotch unless it's made in the Highlands of Scotland. So instead, I did look into things and trying to find things. And this went and passed for a long time. Like, I went through almost my entire 30s. I'm 39 now. I went through almost the entirety of my 30s, and the dream kind of went onto the back burner. Shortly before I turned 39, right after I moved this last time, I was sitting around and I was joking around. And we were talking about political positions. It was started to come out where I worked that I was a political podcaster. And I said, I don't care about the politics of it anymore. I was starting to get really black-pilled at the time. And I said the line. I said, I just want to live on 100 acres and make liquor for a living. That's all that I want to do out of my life. So, and I did that. Well, I didn't do that, but I looked into it. I started to look at recipes. I started to look at equipment, and I said, man, this isn't really that hard. I know I looked at a little bit of this before, and I thought to myself, this is going to be huge. This is going to be dangerous. You need this license. You need that license. And it wasn't. You didn't need all these fancy licenses or anything. So I started looking more into that. I started looking into distilling equipment. And I'm currently living in a closet. And I'm not even going to lie about that. This is... When I moved, I found the smallest place in the town that was close enough to my job where I could reasonably commute. That was the cheapest place that I could get, and I moved into it. That's what I did, and it is tiny. But with it being tiny, and with it being what it is, I thought that I was going to have to go buy a house or get a much, much bigger place before I could start doing this, and I thought to myself over this year, and I talked about this on my New Year's Eve stream. The thing with it is I can wait until the moment is right. And just like I discovered in my 20s, you can sit around and wait for this and wait for this and wait for this forever. And the moment will never be right. it will never once be right. And you just sit there with that dream in the back of your head, or you can sit and do it. Just sit down and do it and be done with it. Get it started, make the sacrifices that you need to make, whether it be for space, whether it be for cash flow. Well, I mean, don't starve yourself to do something like this that you don't know if you're going to make money off of, but, you know, don't buy the newest video game system and a brand new wardrobe when you can go put some cash into your dreams, is what I'm saying. For Christmas, out of my job, I got a $100 Amex gift card, which quickly turned into a $100 Amazon gift card, and went into Amazon, and I started buying the stuff that you're about to see me unbox right now. So here we go. Technically, I'm cheating. This has been unboxed already, but I also wanted to make sure nothing had an address label on it. I like you guys, I just don't want you to know where I live. And that's understandable to most things. Anything internet. There are some weird people on the internet. So, I got the supplies here. I do. I'm going to put this out one more place. Because I know McLeod was asking about that. Alright, that message is sent out here. Alright, let's look at some of the stuff that I got here. Come on. I'm gonna fight with the plastic. At least it's an empty room right now. I was a little surprised because, like, I've got the Mogwai. Typically, as soon as he sees the alert pop up here, he's here. He loves Thursday night streams. I don't know why. He was here most for the Tuesday night streams, but I know he loves the Thursday night streams. But you've got your yeast first. This is, for whatever reason, made in Communist Land Canada. Or packaged in Canada. The company's coming out of Canada. It came through Amazon, but yeah, you've got your Lalvin yeast. This is your basic brewer's yeast, winemaker's yeast. One of these packets makes like 5 gallons. So, I'm going to have a bunch. And I've already got a little bit of the stuff here to come out and actually start making a simple set of bottles as well. It's not going to be a 5 gallon for any stretch of the imagination, but got that. I've got the chemicals. Like, my big thing is I went out and I got the chemicals and the equipment right away. Even though you don't need so much of the equipment and chemicals. Acid blend. Slows down the reaction of what you're going with. Let's see what else we have. This was the interesting one here because this was a bunch of things all in one. I'll be taking inventory on some of this too because I do want to make sure I got everything here. But it didn't come with the main kit that got the hosing and everything to siphon, but I actually got a better set of food grade hosing and an auto siphon. No, it's not a Swedish penis pump. An auto siphon to go and pull this through. I didn't want to like suck on the tube and then let it go in here with active and live yeast and everything going. So that was one of the first big ones. It's like, hey, let's get a decent siphon right away. And the tubing to go with that. And looks like it's got a siphon clamp down to the side as well. So we're all set there. That'll hold. Even put that back in the package gracefully. Because even though it looks like everybody bailed on me, That's not going to go back in there gracefully. Wish everybody had... Oh, looks like we've got somebody back over on the Rumble side. We've got, let's see, what they call a Camden tablet. This is, like, if you've got fruit that you're getting fresh out of the yard or something here, this will take the germs, the bacteria, and everything that's out of the fruit that came naturally with it, that it needed to grow, and stop that so that your sugar, your nutrients, and your yeast are reacting... Well, your sugar is reacting with the yeast, not the bacteria that came in the fruit here. So these are not necessary from the recipes that I've been looking at, but they do help out in a lot, especially like if you're doing a whole fruit wine, like I'm one of the ones that I want to try with here before I get licensed and start selling is a pineapple wine. And with pineapple being so scarce around here, so hard to grow and everything around here, you do kind of want to go back in and make sure everything's clean. So leave one of these guys in with your mix for 24 hours, and then put your yeast in. One of the things, since I'm not going to be doing a lot of grape right now, this is the last one that came actually. This showed up today. I didn't think we were going to be able to do this today because I didn't think this was going to show up. Because it was supposed to show up yesterday, and it didn't. But they've got a tannin is what they call it, which I don't know what the tannins are. I've heard of it. I've heard the word before. I've watched How I Met Your Mother. But they give me a bag of something where I can balance low tannin fruits like pineapple, apple. I found a banana wine in there, or like a mead or a honey. You can balance this out, and this is a chestnut wood tannin. So to get a certain flavor and a certain... I don't know how to describe it. Again, I don't know enough about this. I got to do some more read up on this, but this is to help wineify it. I have this feeling I'm going to be learning a lot in the next few months. My biggest worry on doing this, by the way, is the smell. Fermenting fruit in what is basically a closet. In the middle of winter when you can't open up the windows. I am a little bit worried about that. I'm not going to lie. But we've got the tannins. Nutrient for the yeast. Now the yeast is going to sit and feed on the sugar in the fruit juice, first off. And I know this from bread baking as well, because when you do yeast, you always do that with a little bit of water and a little bit of sugar, so it's got something to munch on. I believe this makes it go further. Again, something else I want to read up on a little bit more and see what it's for. But yeah, to get the brewer's yeast going, I've got the nutrient. And I got two more packages that I want to go over here. So this is a set of airlocks. This is where the magic happens. This I have read up on. So obviously you want to be able to let the air out without letting any of your surrounding air back in, is the way that I understand this here. So, I mean, as it ferments, the yeast eats the sugar and it gives out carbon dioxide. Which means I should probably get some plants in here, by the way, to suck up some of that. Not that I really have a window to put plants in. I mean, that way is east. There's one window on that wall, and that's north. Where in this hemisphere, all the sunlight comes from that direction. So you can see where there might be a little bit of a struggle with that. But any of the containers that I have, I'm going to have to go and drill into the top of that. Like, you know, you do a big mason jar. Actually, and I didn't grab it here. I might throw the intermediate screen up here in just a second. Grab the glass jar here. But, yeah, you put your little grommet in here. This it's got a cap on this. I'm not sure where that goes. I'll have to read the instructions. Oh, no, I don't have to because I can figure it out right here. So you put a little water in here, let that go. Put the cap on because the cap's got little holes in it. If you can see those or not. And it lets everything exhale without letting anything else back in. Have some fun with that. I hope I don't suffocate myself in this little place. I really do. And the big stuff. The stuff that I probably didn't need necessarily because, I mean, there's so much that you can just get for free, but I wanted to have it here is you get a, I got the kit, that's the originally where I wanted to go, with a bucket and a carboy is what they call a secondary fermentation device. I should have taken the bubble wrap out before I did. I'm going to open this stuff here first. I should take the bubble wrap out first. But you've got food grade 5-gallon bucket lid with a hole already drilled in it, by the way, to put your stopper in. Thermometer, some other fittings, another stopper, by the way, in here as well, so you can turn your big bucket into a primary fermentation device. But the big thing, and part of the reason that I did this one here, is, I think this is it, right here. Oh, this is actually this is a gravity reader here, so you can see how drunk you're going to get when you drink your wine, or beer, or liquor if you get your licensing and do that. But I legitimately got this kit, not necessarily because I needed to get a... Oh, this came with a siphon hose too. Does it have a siphon? I didn't see a siphon, but it's got a siphon hose. A large plastic fermenter, which, I mean, any Culligan bottle can do this as well. Big 7-gallon food grade bucket. Again, you can go into almost any restaurant where you know somebody and probably get 2 or 3 of these. I actually have a food grade 5-gallon bucket in the closet over there that I picked up when I first wanted to start doing this project. But this one here is, I mean, it's got a hole in the bottom, which we'll have to seal off to tap it back out if you want to go back and do it that way. If you're not going to siphon it out at the top. It might be interesting to modify my bucket with. But also a big spoon. Now, this is supposed to, I thought it come with a brush too to clean. Because you want to keep, especially if it's food grade, you want to keep your stuff clean. I'm actually a little bit disappointed right now because that was the literal reason I got this kit, was because it came with the cleaner in it. So I'll be going and checking that. But yeah, you want to be able to clean, you want to be able to sanitize, you want to make sure everything is up to snuff, because just like with the Campton tablets, you do not want to let the bacteria in on everything. You want to make sure that it's just the yeast and the sugar that are reacting with each other. So, a lot of stuff. Not a lot of space here to have a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff in here. Now, where I'm going to go with this, first, obviously, I'm going to be... My desk is a mess right now, because there's so much stuff in here. And there's just bubble wrap all over the fucking place over there. I'll take care of that in a bit. One of the things that I want to do with this is eventually I want to do distilling. Now, you need a license in Wisconsin to distill. And I think almost every state in the union, you need a license to distill. I have been told numerous times at this point that you do not need a license if you're going to be doing it for your own personal consumption, your own personal use. I'm telling you right off the bat, I have said nasty things about the government about the IRS, about taxation, about what I think about the current president, the FBI, the organizations that investigate things. I have said horrible, horrible, horrible things about these people. And if you think for 1 second that I'm going to distill without a license, in a state where it's not legal to distill without a license, you're out of your mind. That is something that is not going to happen in this house. I can tell you that right off the bat. Because they're going to be looking for any reason whatsoever to come back out and take all my winemaking stuff. And that's like what I just unboxed here. That's like $200 worth of stuff that's sitting over here on my desk right now. I think final total was like 175 or something, like 176, something like that. Like, there is a bunch of expensive stuff here. Some of it's consumable, which unfortunately that's the cost of doing business. If you want a bottle of some of my first wines that are going to be given away, I will have to see what the laws are about trafficking alcohol, because the ATF, again, an organization I have said nasty and horrible things about. Actually, the ATF not so bad. I just wish it was a convenience store, not a government agency. But still, crossing state lines, unregistered alcohol, things like that. I do have to check my laws on that. I would very much like to bring a bottle of this down for 4th of July to the Zeds, and my first bottle should be just about ready at that point too. If not, they'll be close enough that we could probably crack one open. It probably won't be aged out completely, but we can probably crack one open at that point. I'd like to bring one down to Georgia for that. Again, I have to check my local laws for Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, things. Tennessee should be fine. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Kind of excited for this. Again, my biggest fear is trying to do this in the middle of winter in a closet-sized apartment while I'm house hunting and letting all that carbon dioxide into the place. So, well, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, look for updates on the YouTube side. I am going to make a completely new channel on YouTube. I'm going to make a different channel for doing winemaking stuff. My J. Edgar 101 channel is completely algorithmically demoted because I talk about news. That's an accepted, like I have, well, I've got 2 other channels actually. But I have another channel right now that I was going to use for a conversation show that was going to go completely different from like what KTZed Redemption was, what Ed's World was, and what the Red Net Show were. I was going to do a completely different way of doing things with that. That went on the back burner when my dad had his heart attack, unfortunately. But that's something I do want to revive again. But again, for doing winemaking stuff, there's going to be updates. There might be a new X coming up on this, just so I can turn around and get around the algorithmic demotion of that and actually not get like what Jessica Green had to go through over on X when she would go talk about wholesome recipes, breads and whatnot, and people would jump down her throat about abortion or Republican politics or things like that. Especially since I'm not a Republican. I'm really not in much of anything, but I want to sell or put pictures up of the wine that I'm making, the bottles, the progress on that. That's what I want to do. So there might be a new X for that. Watch that for updates. There will be a new YouTube channel, definitely. Well, we go over some of the recipes and I show you progress updates and things like that. This is probably not going to be live on that channel. It's probably all going to be pre-recorded because then I can sit down and edit some stuff out and make sure that there's no addresses or anything that you guys can see that are readily visible. That was one of the hard, again, when I started this particular stream off, I know it says unboxing in the title, but everything was out of the box already because all the packages that came from Amazon had my address on them. And for whatever reason, there's not a Sharpie anywhere in this apartment. I don't know why there's not a Sharpie in here, but there is not a Sharpie anywhere in this apartment where I could have gone back and blacked it out. But so we are. But thanks for coming in here, checking this out live or on the replay. I'm going to take off here for now, and I'll set my channel, my Twitch channel, back over to follow somebody else here. But yeah, my Rumble, my Twitch, my D-Live, even though that platform went dead right around the 2024 election when people started fleeing it like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Those I think will all be good because there's not really a lot of algorithmic demotion with that. But yeah, there's going to be a new YouTube, so definitely for that. Take care. Have a good night.